What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to Untitled Jitsu. Odds are you're probably watching this video because you are interested in getting a tattoo and you do jiu-jitsu. The question is, when can you get back on the mats and train after having done that? So to get started, I want to talk about the overall healing process of the tattoo. There's a few different phases, so it's important to be aware of those when considering when you should start training. Now, obviously, your tattoo artist will probably go over these phases as well with you, especially if it's your first one, but we'll get into it anyways. There are two things to be concerned about when determining when to train after having gotten your tattoo. One is skin infections. Basically, the tattoo is an open wound, and we know how many germs are on a jiu-jitsu mat, so you really got to take that into account when deciding when to train and how you train. Two, you don't want the tattoo to get all screwed up because you trained too soon and it got super faded, it looks ugly, it's scarred. You don't want any of that. So that's why you should be asking yourself this question. The first phase of the healing process after getting a tattoo is the open wound phase. This is pretty much the immediate time frame after having gotten the tattoo done. And this is where the highest risk of skin infection comes in. This is definitely not the phase where you would consider training jiu-jitsu. The next phase of the tattoo healing process is the scabbing phase. While a wound is healing, it starts to scab over and new skin is starting to build up. At this point, you're not at as high of a risk of infection because there's new skin forming over top of your wound. That being said, if you train and it gets opened up, if the scab gets torn off, you get scratched, gi burned, at that point, you could get infected again. After the scabbing phase takes place, the next phase of healing is peeling. And at this point, the tattoo isn't an open wound anymore. There's no scabs, so the risk of infection is pretty low. But during the peeling phase, if you speed up that process, if you're rolling around in the mat and the gi just tears off a lot of that peeling skin, your tattoo is probably going to end up looking a little bit more faded than it would have had you waited just a little bit longer to train. It's not to say you can't, it's just to say that you might end up not liking your tattoo as much if you do it then. The last phase of the tattoo healing process is the itching phase. And at this point, there are going to be pieces of your tattoo that are still peeling, but mostly it's done peeling and it just itches a lot. Your tattoo is going to be sensitive to the touch. It's not going to like being grabbed or rubbed. That being said, you can start training at this point in time. I do want to tell you, I've gotten over 10 tattoos, all of which have been done during my jiu-jitsu career, and none of them have gotten infected. One of them, or two of them, have gotten slightly damaged as a result of my training, so I do have some experience in this area. So now to answer the question, when can you actually start training jiu-jitsu? And there are a lot of variables here. It depends on the size of the tattoo that you got. It depends on the placement of the tattoo that you got. So the earliest that I would possibly consider getting on the mat is about 2 to 3 days. If the tattoo has scabbed over, depending on the placement, I'll do some slow drilling and positional drilling, obviously depending on what I'm drilling and where the tattoo is. But as far as rolling goes, I'm not going to roll until I am probably about a week out from the date that I got my tattoo. At this point, it should be at the beginning of the peeling process, and if I really need to get on the mat and I'm careful, then I'll start rolling at a week. If you want to be super duper safe and conservative with your training timeline, wait until all of the peeling is done. That's typically 2 to 3 weeks after the tattoo is completed, depending again on your body and how fast you heal. But generally, 2 to 3 weeks is the super conservative timeline that you could consider getting back on the mat and training with basically the same risk of infection or damage that you had before. The last thing I'm going to say is if you do decide to get on the mat after the scabbing process, no matter what, after you're done rolling or after you're done drilling, whatever you're doing, rinse off your tattoo, wash it with soap and water, use the products recommended by the artist that you got your tattoo done by, but wash your tattoo, make sure that you get all of those germs off your skin because you could still risk an infection. Hopefully this video helped you with your decision on when to train after getting that tattoo. Let me know in the comments below what the tattoo was that you got and what your experiences training with tattoos have been like. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. And for those of you guys wondering, I know this is the Untitled Jitsu channel. I will be posting some new content focused on us smaller individuals. So stay tuned for that. Stay consistent. Go train.